A little more insight on this as the president's staff works throughout the weekend. Let's bring in Jennifer Scholtes, Budget and Appropriations Editor with Politico. Jennifer, always good to see you. As we heard from Kristen Fisher, the president says things are coming along well. Do the Republicans in Congress agree?
So everybody is still in those negotiating rooms trying to work out the details right now. But if everything were coming along perfectly, we would have a deal, and that is not usually the way that things are done in Congress, right? You operate right up to the deadline, and everybody is crying wolf and saying that shutdown is a possibility every single time that we go to fund the government. But this time seems a little bit different. As Kristen mentioned, the president's 100th day in office is on Saturday, and the government funding runs out on Friday night. So the White House is under immense pressure to get some wins in this package, and the Democrats also see this as a pressure point and an ability to set a precedent for them really meaning what they say in terms of their threats on spending. So I feel like this time seems scarier than ever if you're afraid of shutdown.
Yeah, well, you certainly do get the sense that the Democrats are really looking for blood here. From our own Chris Steyerwalt, a government shutdown, even a brief one, he writes, would convince the country swiftly that the Republican claim to be a governing party is something of a sick joke. Couple that with a busted revival of Trump care, and you have the beginning of an epic tailspin. That's from the halftime report that came out yesterday. Do Republicans on Capitol Hill agree with that? Are they that worried about the optics, if you will, of a shutdown?
Yeah, I think the shutdown would look bad for everyone. So Politico and Morning Consult did a poll a few weeks ago asking voters, almost 2,000 registered voters, who they would blame if the government shut down. And 22% they said that they would blame Republicans in Congress, 24% said that they would blame President Trump, and 34% said that they would blame Democrats. So I think everyone is afraid. Democrats might be playing this as if it's only Republicans who stand to lose, but everybody stands to lose if the government shuts down, and everyone is mindful of that.
Well, and probably the people who lose most of all are the American people, you might add. Is somebody to think about in all of this. What are really the sticking points here? What does Republicans want to extract in terms of victories, if you will, that you pointed out earlier, and what do Democrats view as the pressure points?
So the two things that we've really gotten down to now are border wall funding and these Obamacare cost-sharing subsidies that basically help low-income people offset some of the costs of co-pays and deductibles and things like that. And yesterday, Mick Mulvaney, OMB director, came forward and said, basically, here is a textbook example of the opening salvo in a deal-making process, and I will propose $1 of border funding for $1 of Obamacare subsidies. Democrats want the subsidies, Republicans want the border wall. Seems like a pretty fair deal, but without even missing a beat, Chuck Schumer, the Senate Minority Leader's office, batted back and said, absolutely not. This is a complete non-starter. We are not going to allow you to hold hostage these health care subsidies. And so that does not bode well for the prospects of shutdown. It just seems like both parties, you know, the White House comes forward, says, here's a deal. Dems say, no way.
We saw, obviously, Democrats stick together when it came to the Obamacare repeal and replace vote. That whip count never really got off the ground back a couple of weeks ago when that got pulled. Do Democrats have to participate in this, or can Republicans, between their majority in the House and majority in the Senate, get this through?
Well, the fact remains that the Republicans in the Senate do not have a supermajority, so they have to rely on Democrats for these votes. And Chuck Schumer has said so many times that, you know, border wall funding over my dead body, basically, and you see Republicans in Congress realizing that maybe he's telling the truth, and I just don't see Democrats coming to the table on that.
All right. Well, we'll see if a deal is made. Either way, I know it's going to be a long week for you, Jennifer. Thanks for coming in on the weekend before.
Thank you.